Go ahead and get started. So you're going to go ahead and lay down on the ground wherever you have. And we're going to start with just some nice deep breathing. So get yourself in a comfortable position and focus on taking really deep inhales, filling, and then deep exhales. Try and breathe out hard enough that you tighten your abs. Filling up into the chest, and then nice strong exhale. So 2 more. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and warm up the ankles. So you're going to get into this knees up position, and we're going to just do taps. So you're going to bring your foot up, flex as hard as you can, and then push it down into the ground. You're thinking about flexing your foot up and then driving, trying to squeeze your toes downwards. You should get a little bit of muscular fatigue in the front of the shins. Just make sure you're keeping up that breathing. I'm gonna go 1 more. There we go. And now we're gonna take one leg, extend it forwards, and rotate the foot in and out. You're thinking about twisting your foot outwards and twisting the foot in. Go 1 more, and then let that down, and then the other side. Really try and focus on squeezing with your glutes when you're opening the foot up. So when your toes go to point outside. You want to keep your abs engaged and your low back on the ground. And last one. Nice. Now we're going to do some knee to chest leg lifts. So you're going to extend one leg out. This leg stays braced on the ground, your abs are tight. Knee to chest. Extend out, tap the heel, leg lift. Feel that nice hamstring stretch all the way up. Tap, knee to chest. Tap, leg lift. When you're doing the knee to chest, try to make sure you're keeping your abs tight. You're keeping your pelvis on the ground. You want to just get that nice hamstring stretch. Hold it briefly at that top position. We'll do 1 more. And then switch legs. And focus on getting that exhale each time you're bringing your leg up. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more. Okay, here we go. Next up, we're going to do some bridging. We're going to do these in a butterfly. So you're going to put soles of your feet together. Your knees nice and wide, and then you're going to think about tightening your abs and twisting your tailbone towards your feet. You squeeze the glutes and then come down. Try and keep your knees nice and low and your abs engaged. Nice big exhale as you push up. Inhale down. Do a couple more. Okay, now go ahead and get your feet back into the nice hip width position. We're going to do a few more bridges, really get the glutes nice and warm. Push the hips up, and we're going to do some marching. So knees to chest, and then back down. And think about not letting your knee drift inwards. You don't want your knees to get closer together. Make sure you're squeezing with the glute real hard and pushing your foot slightly forwards. One more on the right, and then down. Nice. Next up, we're going to do some pelvic tilts. Get the low back nice and warm. So you're going to twist your pelvis away, create the space under the low back, and then twist it so you touch the ground. Tighten the abs hard. Inhale. Exhale. Big inhale. Big exhale. One more. Nice. And then if you need to, scoot down. Otherwise, we're just going to do some shoulder pullovers. So arms come up here. You're going to tighten the abs. Bring your arms down. Feel that nice stretch in your chest. And then exhale. Bring the arms back up. You want to think about you bringing your shoulders towards your hips and your hands towards your feet. You really are engaging downwards. You don't want to finish with your shoulders shrugged up. You want them nice and low. Keeping the abs engaged. Do a couple more. Last one. Nice. And then go ahead, roll on up. And we're going to get into tabletop position. And we're going to do some cat-cows. So take a nice big breath in. And then exhale, you're going to push your chest up real high, tuck your head. Inhale, come down. Chest goes down and forwards. Make sure your fingers are nicely spread. You're engaging downwards into the ground with your fingertips. Put in your palm. Go one more. Finishing in the cow position. Nice. And now, from here, we're going to do some downward dog holding. So, get yourself up nice and set. You're going to push your hips backwards. Trying to think about bringing your knees towards your chest, or your chest towards your knees, and letting your heels sink down. And then come down. We're going to do that 2 more times. So big breath in, big exhale. Maintaining that nice calm breathing while we're in this position. And then come down. Nice big breath in. And last one, big exhale. Chest towards the knees, keeping the low back as arched as you can. And go ahead and come down. Nice. And standing position. Now we're going to get into a spread foot position. And arms come up so you make that big X. You're going to push your hips backwards, reach down, going towards your toe if you want to touch on the shin or the knee, even if you don't have the flexibility to get all the way down to the toe. You want to think about pushing your hips backwards, keeping your core engaged. And you want to keep that other arm reaching slightly forwards. Really try and focus on driving your hips forwards to come up. So hips go back, hips go forwards. Go 2 more. Last one. Let your arms relax, bring the feet in. And we're gonna do some Stork Walk. So arms come together, from a 90 degree. And you're going to bring knee to chest with that big exhale. Inhale, exhale. Just really focusing on keeping the abs and glutes engaged. Keeping your low back from rounding. So you don't want to force your knee to come upwards. That's just going to round out with the low back. You're going to think about trying to squeeze, tightening in with the abs. I'll do a couple more. And last one. Nice. Next up, we're going to do some windmills. So I'm going to have to rotate 90 degrees for this. I'll demonstrate front on. So you're going to have one arm forward and back. Nope. Sorry, I have a fan right there. Can't see it, but I don't want to smack my hand. So one arm forward and back, and then you're going to reach and switch. So as you're getting familiar with this, you can pause. If you're feeling like this is pretty easy, you can make it a nice continuous motion. You want to think about your chest twisting one side to the other, but your hips stay locked forwards. Nice calm breathing pattern. Really working on rotating your chest, reaching your hands as far as you can, front and back. Really get that rotation through the torso. Now we're going to reverse. Now this one should feel much more familiar to the swimmers out there. Trying to work on your chest rotation, right? Locking in, squeezing the glutes. And there we go. Shoulders should be nice and warm from that. Last thing we're going to do is warm up the wrists a little bit. So you're going to start here, 90 degrees. Make a fist, curl it in, touch your belly, open out, and trying to reach your hands behind you. Fist and touch the belly, open. So really curling in, opening. You can speed this up if you're feeling comfortable with it, but really try and think about feeling your shoulder blades pinched together behind you. So you want to really squeeze that open so you're not forcing your hands. Twist. Get a nice big exhale as you're opening up and really making that fist and curling it in. Try to touch your belly. Go a few more of these. And there we go. Okay, we're going to finish the warm up with a minute of cardio movement of your choice. Oh, I thought I had my timer set up. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so jumping jacks, high knees, butt kickers. If you want to do burpees, you can. Basically, whatever that's going to get you moving, get your heart rate elevated. We're going to go for a minute. So in 3, 2, and Let's go. Let's start out with some jumping jacks. But try and think about being light on your feet, keeping your abs engaged. So you're kind of gently pulling your belly button towards your spine. Nice light movements, focusing on your breathing. That's the halfway point. I personally like doing jumping jacks for my cardio warm-up just because it gets you better at that lateral motion. It's not always super common to get. 5 more seconds. And there we go. Okay. So now's the perfect time to take a little water if you need it. We're gonna let the heart rate calm down just a little bit and then we'll get into it. Okay, so we're gonna do 3 rounds, 6-minute exercises, and we're gonna take a little bit of a break in between each round. So the first round is going to be split squats as the first movement. So I'm gonna get into a lunged position, and from here, to drop the back knee down. You wanna think about that front knee being straight up and down, back knee being straight up and down. You do not have to touch the back knee, right? If you don't want to, or if that's uncomfortable, you can just come down, pause here, and then come up. You want to focus on glute tight, abs tight, feeling that stretch in that back hip flexor. Right, we'll do 8 to 12 per side. Next up is inchworm. So you're gonna start in a standing position. Reach down, bend the knees as much as you need to put your hands on the ground. You're gonna walk your hands out until you're in a plank. And then you're gonna walk your feet back to here. And then walk your feet back and walk your hands back to here. And you don't need to stand up in between each one. You can just kind of bust them out quickly. Right. If you want to try and make it harder, you can try and take bigger steps or bigger movements. Or if you have the room, you can go past a full plank. So you can go out into an extended position. And then from there, walk your feet up. That's how you make that one more difficult. Last up is Cobra Lifts. So you're gonna get on the ground, flat on your stomach, abs engaged, glutes engaged. We'll start, and this is the easiest progression, is hands by your hips. And just lift the torso up, keeping your hands on the ground. If that feels easy, hands come up. Still easy, kind of move them out a little bit. And then you can go to here, or you can do hands on the back of the head, or arms full extension. Right, whatever method feels challenging to you, keep your abs engaged, your glutes engaged, and you're feeling that in the upper back. So those are the 3 exercises for this round. 5 to 8 of the inchworm, and 5 to 8 of the Cobra Lifts as well. So it's a pretty slow movement. So like I said, we're gonna do 6 minutes. Should get through 2 rounds. If we're close, we'll finish that second round. If we're over, we're just gonna keep going. So we'll get started with the split squats in 3, 2, and let's go, split squats. So tighten the abs, sink it down. Again, you do not have to touch the knee, you just wanna get low. If you're finding these to be a little easy, you can focus on closing your eyes, making your balance harder. Or you can mess around with hand positioning. You can have your hands up, come out to the side. You can even try to do twists. Right? There's a lot of ways to make this movement more challenging. If you want to try and play around with a progression that you find difficult, but you want to make sure you're still getting a nice glute squeeze on both sides. Nice calm breathing, exhaling as you come up. Still all right if you're wobbly. It's kind of the point of this. Work on your balance a little bit. You want to think about moving straight up and down too. I don't know if I said that already. Your torso moves in a vertical line. Okay, inchworms. Starting in that standing position, hands come down, and then you walk it up. Clink, walk the feet in, walk the feet out, walk the hands. That's one. Right, like I said, if you want this to be harder, you can try and take bigger steps. Or you can try and go further distance. Just make sure you're keeping your abs engaged and engaging into the ground with your fingertips to keep your wrists safe. And you keep breathing. Should be pretty hard on the abs and the arms, maybe your calves. And there we go. Ooh, okay, Cobra Lifts. So remember, wherever you're at in that progression, so if your arms are down, you just lift the upper back, or you can lift the arms, or you can up to the side, 90, arms at 90, arms in the back of the head, arms forward. You want to think about keeping the abs down, the glutes engaged. Do you feel this in the upper back? Okay, there we go. Now, this split squat, you want to switch which leg you started with if you remember. So, oh, I don't remember. Doesn't matter too much. It's just sometimes helpful when you're doing single-sided things to swap your starting position, because it can change the rate at which you fatigue. But like I said, not super important. Just an extra little thing to help you get a little bit more out of your workout. And you do not have to put your hands up. Makes it extra challenging. Oh, I think I did the swap. So focus on inhale down, exhale up. Trying to keep yourself nice and steady. Feeling that stretch in that back leg, hip flexor, front of your hip down into the thigh. There we go. And back to the inchworm. So really focus on making sure you're breathing, trying to keep your hand movements light. And you want to try and prevent side to side sway as much as possible. If you can. Woo. Stop. Okay. We're going to finish through the second round. These inchworms took longer than I was expecting. So we'll do the inchworms, and then we'll do the cobra, and then we'll take our breather. I want to do one more inchworm. Okay, then the final set of cobra. So again, whatever progression you're working at, we're going 5 to 8 of these. Getting the abs nice and engaged, glutes nice and engaged. You want to feel that in the upper back. Woo! There we go. Round 1 is done. So I'm going to grab some water and take a little break. And then we'll get back into round 2. Whew, sorry, need some water. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and demonstrate round 2. You can just keep resting for a while. So the first movement is gonna be ice skaters. So you're gonna start on one side of whatever you're working on, floor, carpet, whatever, doesn't matter. And what this is gonna be, first progression is just stepping over, transferring your weight. Stepping and transfer. Right? So just back and forth, weight onto this leg, feeling that hip push backwards. And just back and forth. If you're feeling fine with that, you can make it a little bit of a jump. So jump, transfer, pause, right? Loading into the glute, feeling it, and then springing off of that as you go. If you're feeling more comfortable with that, you just make your jumps. I still want you to pause. So you load, you're holding briefly. There are ways to do that you might be more familiar with that are faster, but trying to work on stability, so a little bit different. Next up is bicycle. So down onto the ground, get your low back nice and set, squeezed in the abs, hands behind the head, and then you're pushing, driving that heel away. You tuck this knee in, trying to reach for it with your elbow. Nice and slow, working on that full extension, really bringing that knee in as far as you can. Nice big exhale on each movement. Last up is bent over reverse flies. So tighten the abs, push the hips backwards, find that nice glute squeeze. Hamstring should be nice and tight. And then you're just gonna extend your arms to the sides, pinching your shoulder blades behind you, If you want to, you can try different hand positions. You just want to use the one that you feel gets you the best squeeze in the shoulder blades and the most range of motion. Or you can play around with all of them. It's really up to you. All right, numbers. Ice skaters is 10 to 16, counting each jump. Make sure you end on an even. Bicycle 16 to 20. Reverse fly 10 to 16. So, just like the other one, we're going to do a 6-minute round. I'm going to hopefully get through 2 rounds. We'll get started in 3, 2, and let's go. Ice skaters. So, right, starting with just nice steps, pause, and loading. If you're feeling fine with it, get that little jump. You're feeling fine with that? Bigger jumps. You want to load into that leg, catch yourself. There's 16. Okay, bicycle. To the ground. And shoulder blades come off. And knee and then extend. So you're really pushing that heel away. Bringing that knee up as high as you can, keeping the low back firmly on the ground. Nice and controlled. And there we go. Sorry, that one's a little hard to talk during. Bend over, reverse fly. So lock the abs, push the hips back, let the arms dangle, squeeze the shoulder blades. Nice big exhale. You want to make sure you're finding that glute tension and keep your back safe. And you're pulling your belly button to your spine. You pinch the shoulder blades together and reach your arms out to the sides. There we go. Okay, and ice skaters, 10 to 16. Pausing each time, trying to get that nice soft impact. You're gonna be landing quiet on your feet. Now, if you're in an apartment and you don't want to jump, right, you can go like this. You can do bigger steps. There's no impact here. You're still getting the majority of that movement. Should have done this the first time, sorry. Right? But if you can and feel comfortable doing it, give me the jumps. Make it extra challenging. And 16. Okay, and bicycles to the ground. Abs are tight, shoulder blades off. And we're just trying to reach an elbow towards the knee. The opposite elbow goes towards the ground. So really getting that chest rotation. And to the reverse fly. You do not have to get up like that. That's a skill I've learned over the years. I'm getting off the ground quickly. You want to think about keeping your head up towards the ceiling while you're doing this. You don't want to let it fall forwards like that. Then you can't fire your shoulder blades quite as well. I'm alternating my hand positioning each time, just because I like to. You do not have to. If you find one that feels really good, just stick with it. There we go. And back to the ice skaters. And again, remember, light stepping, working on balance control, pausing each time. If you're feeling fine with that, light jumping, or big gliding steps. Again, pausing each time. It's not going to be disturbing to anyone. You can do big jumps. As long as you can land lightly and controlled. And there we go. And we got time for another bicycle. That's surprising. Okay. Extension, elbow to knee, and go. Ah, there it is. Okay. Now it's round 2. Next in time for a water break. Let the heart rate calm down a little bit. Make sure you're still moving around. You don't want to just be stationary. Ooh, okay. I don't know about you guys, but that got me really sweaty. So, last round we're gonna do. We'll demonstrate now. You guys can continue resting. So the first one is going to be something called hip swings. So this is a pretty dynamic movement that you're going to need a lot of leg room for, because you are going to be kicking back and forth. If you're not familiar with this, I'd advise putting your hand on the wall just so you have balance for now. But what you're going to do is swing leg and back, right? Back and forth. Keeping your abs engaged and really feeling the glute drive as you kick back. So you're trying to get not as high as you possibly can, which is kind of like a relaxed swing, abs tight, back and forth. If you're feeling comfortable with that, if you feel like you don't need the wall for balance, you opposite hand goes forward. And then when that leg's coming back, this hand reaches. This gets the arms more involved, but it requires a lot of balance. So I'd advise starting hand on the wall, see how you feel with that one. I'm gonna do 10 to 15 per side. Next up is side plank leg movements. So there's a lot of ways to do the side plank. You can go elbow, elbow and knees, and that's one progression. You can go elbows and staggered foot stance, or you can go elbows and feet together, or hand and any of those different leg positions. Take a pick, find one that you feel is doable. It's not going to require too much discomfort, even though it's kind of the point of this. Lactic burn. So what you're going to do is you're going to be up on whatever position you're in, driving through the ground, arm reaches up. and then we're going to do some leg movements. So you're going to bring knee up and then down, up and then down. If you're in, say, this one, arm comes up, and then back down, and then back down. The only one that this is going to be really challenging for is the staggered position. If you're staggered an elbow, because you're going to have to shift your weight back and you might fall over. So if you are doing the staggered one, I would say try a different leg position if that's the one you're used to doing. And the last thing we're going to do, bird dogs. So back into the tabletop position like we did on our warm-up. Abs are tight, belly button to spine. You're going to extend, need to rotate slightly. You're going to extend your front hand forwards and extend your heel back, and then switch. Hopefully you do not have a tiny room like I do. You have room to do this fully. Well, I guess tiny is not the right word. Narrow room in certain dimensions, right? With the goal here, locking the abs. You are going to be putting a lot of weight on your knees, so if you want to pillow, if you want to roll up, whatever surface you're on, blanket, towel, whatever, make it easier. So we're going to do 6 minutes through, starting with the hip swings. In 3, 2, and let's go. Hip swings. So starting on the wall, just working on getting that leg back, getting it forward, right? If you're feeling comfortable, you can come off the wall, get this more dynamic, finding that glute squeeze on the leg you're standing on. It's going to be emphasized when you kick forwards. And then you switch. Now, if you want to, you can try touching your foot each time. That gives you a goal, both to kick towards and to reach towards. Might help with the balance. But as I said, you want to try and make sure you can comfortably do this before you work on the balance progression. Keeping the abs engaged. Keeping the glutes squeezed on the leg you're standing on. Okay. And now the side plank leg movement. So whatever progression you're working on, I will demonstrate all of them real quick. So elbows and knees. Up here, leg comes up. You tuck the knee. Almost, if you want to, you can try knee to elbow and extend back out. That is one of the other progressions for this. Or if you're feeling like that, you can just tuck towards it. Hand and knee is the same. Hand and knee is a little awkward just because you're at such an extreme angle, but you can still do that if you feel like that's where you're at progression-wise. Elbow, tucking, or full tuck and extension, or hand, either bringing the knee up or getting the arm involved too. This is the one I'm going to be doing. You can do any of those earlier progressions. Keeping the abs engaged, keeping that glute squeezed real good. And there we go. And to the other side. Making sure you're pushing your hips slightly forwards, driving your hand down into the ground or elbow. Try to keep yourself nice and tall. There we go. And bird dogs. So tabletop position, abs are tight. You're pushing the ground away from you, and then extend. So big exhale and pause. Trying to reach that distance. Feeling this in the upper back, your glutes, maybe the tricep on the arm you have on the ground. Counting each movement. Going for 10 to 16 here. Oh, I totally forgot what the first round thing was. All right, hip swings. Oh, man. Okay, so, right, if you need for the balance. Oh, that's why this feels awkward. I'm sorry, everyone. I chose the wrong hand to balance on. So you're going wall, opposite foot. Ah, I knew there was something that was weird about that. Right, and that's how you do it if you need to balance. Otherwise, free swinging. That's my bad. So if you're standing on the left foot, swinging your right foot, right hand goes on the wall. That way you can still do the reaching. I knew there was something off on that one. And if you're feeling good balance-wise, just come off the wall and get your whole body involved. There we go. Now to the ground or the plank movements. Again, whichever progression you're working on, up nice and tall. And then if you're just going knee up, or if you're going, oh man, up. We'll go ahead and finish this one. Sorry, I took a little long on that first plank, showing the progressions. And to the other side. Up nice and tall. There we go. And last one for round 3. And last exercise is the bird dogs. Locking in the abs, pushing the ground away from you. Try and keep your weight shifted slightly forwards. So you have to put more force through your hands. Really working on that extension, driving that foot back. And there we go. That is round 3 done. And that is all the exercising we're going to do together. Take a little bit of a breather, let the heart rate calm down, and then do a few quick cool down things. Get some stretching in. Call it good. Try and work on taking really deep breaths, but nice calm exhales. So you're not trying to forcefully tighten and get all your air out. You're trying to just, lots of volume. Let's take a couple more breaths and then we'll go ahead and get started with the cool down. So, first thing we're going to do for the cool down is a bit of a lat and tricep stretch. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to take your hand, reach down like you're trying to touch the back of your neck, so your elbow is up, and then you're going to come against a wall, and then just gently lean into the wall so your hand goes further down your back. So I'll go this way. So you gently lean into the wall, and your hand goes further down your back. Feel that stretch here, up in the triceps. Well, that's too comfy, so I'm gonna go back to here. And then once you feel a position that you feel some tension in your lats, in your triceps, shoulder, maybe really anywhere on the right side, you just want to find that tension, and then gently breathe. Try and let it go. Don't force this. Don't put too much tension into there. You just want to feel like it's getting a little bit of a stretch, and then you can let it go. And then gently come off the wall. I'm going to do the other side. So I like to start reaching down, getting that elbow up. Trying to think about pulling my elbow backwards up against the wall, and then just gently lean into it. Trying to think about keeping your elbow slightly backwards, or if you want to, you can think about moving your chest forwards slightly. Abs stay engaged. And there's nice calm breathing. If you don't tighten the abs, your ribs will flare up. It's not as effective of a stretch. So again, just find that light tension. You're holding into that light tension so you feel like it lets go. Gently come out of that. Oh, nice. Next up, we're going to do a bit of a quad stretch. So we're going to do standing. So plant one hand on the wall, same side foot opposite, goes up, grabs on your foot. You're going to flex down and then bring that knee backwards. So you want to think about from here, your knee goes backwards behind you. Get a nice quad stretch. So both of your glutes should be firing up real good. And you should feel that from your knee all the way up into your hip. On the leg you're stretching. Head up nice and tall. And again, light tension, and just hold it. You're not trying to crank on your foot as hard as you can. You want to just find the tension, breathe calmly, and see if you can let it go. Just gently bring the knee forward, let that foot go, and we switch sides. Flex that down. I like to start knee slightly forward, and then just drive it back. That helps me really get my glutes nice and active. Head up tall, right? Driving into the ceiling. Nice calm breathing. A few more breaths here. Last one. Bring that knee forwards. Gently come out of that. Nice. And The last stretch we're going to do is puppy dog. So this is kind of a variance of child's pose. So you're going to get into knees straight down, so kind of like a tabletop. And then you're going to walk your hands forward, trying to keep your hips where they're at, and then just bring your chest down towards the ground. Notice I'm not, well, hopefully not moving my hips too much. So you set your forehead on the ground, and then just try and let your chest go down. If you're feeling pretty comfortable here, you can try and pinch your shoulder blades together behind you and really bring that chest down. You might need to adjust your head positioning. And then gently, you can drop your elbows down and just shift your weight backwards. Come out of that. And that is it for Dryland training class for today. Hope you all enjoyed it. I know I did. So hopefully I'll see you next week.